The Syracuse Chiefs couldn't have drawn it up any better. Despite getting into Providence just before 5 o'clock Saturday morning, they come out here at Fenway and take care of business. For the first 3 quarters, the Orange looked like the team that lost the last 4 games here in the Dome this season. Then finally in the fourth, they turned it around and looked like the one that won the Pinstripe Bowl. And when Van Schoo made that catch right here in the corner in overtime, the celebration was on. And while the numbers make it seem like Malone is throwing strikes all the time, that's not really the case. But what Malone says is key for him is that perception is more important than reality. The weather here today really turning into a microcosm of the day for Cornell. It started out bright and sunny like the 4-1 lead the Big Red held in the first quarter, but it ended pretty dreary. Skinny Atlas wins over General Brown and Bishop Ludden. They put up 36 points. That's impressive. I'll tell you what's even more impressive, their defense. Bishop Ludden's offense, especially in the second half, just couldn't get anything going, and the Lakers' defense really shut them down.
In spite of a lapse of 14 years, New York's famous subway alumni proved
Look at that.
It's been a long time since Pat Kaloran has seen film of SU's 1963 win at Yankee Stadium.
There I am, 58, see?
But his memories are as vivid as ever.
We ran up and down the field between the 20s, but kept turning over.
Ken McGleesick recovers for Notre Dame.
Kaloran was a backup center for Ben Schwartzwalder's team that year.
This is Floyd Little.
The following season, the Watertown native started when SU beat Army in the Bronx.
Being there at Yankee Stadium was just a wonderful experience, just a great experience. Yeah, and you don't forget, I don't forget. I was born with a Yankee hat on, and going into the locker room and dressing in the same place that Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and all those guys dressed, was just an absolute thrill.
In fact, when thinking back on his career, the one-time All-American ranks playing at the house that Ruth built as one of the top highlights of his career.
Yankee Stadium was like our bowl game, pretty much, because not getting invited anywhere else, that was kind of the bowl.
How fitting, since now, nearly 5 decades later, the current SU team will play an actual bowl game there, and if the players are listening, Pat Kaloran has some advice.
Step back a second while there, guys. Just kind of breathe in that experience and relish it and put it in the part of your mind and know that you worked hard for it and you deserved it.
And oh yeah, one more thing.
Make sure you take a camera along with you and take some great pictures.
Because as Pat Kaloran found out, you never know when you'll get to relive it again quite like this.
I can remember that. It was a fun time back then, though.
7 weeks ago, this celebration didn't look possible. Down 3-1 in the first round of the playoffs, the B-Cents were less than 5 minutes away from a disappointing end to their season. But then this happened. And this. And the rest was history.
That was a big game. We scored a game-winning goal to stay alive, went there, won 2 more games, and that gave us so much confidence too. So that was probably the first biggest step we made.
And after that, the steps kept on coming. The B-Cents finished the playoffs by winning 15 of their last 19 games, and perhaps even more impressive, they clinched 3 of their 4 series on the road.
It's just unbelievable, the highs, the lows, the roller coaster, the way you got to be able to control your emotions, the way you got to find a way to push through times when you just feel like you got anything. And I wasn't even playing.
When the playoffs began, Robin Leonard probably didn't think he'd be playing either. But after starting in place of Barry Brust in that fateful Game 5 against Manchester, Leonard allowed just 2 goals a game the rest of the way. And in the end, he took home the trophy as Finals MVP.
What a monster Robin is. I can't say enough about the kid. He stepped in, played unbelievable for us, and you know what? He deserves everything that he's gotten. I mean, he won us the series.
True, but so did Ryan Keller. For the 2nd straight series, the captain scored the game-winning goal in the clincher.
That's why he's a captain. Cal's is a captain for a reason. He stepped up in every big moment. Even in regular season when we needed him, he was there. And in the playoffs, he scored big goals.
He's been our leader from day one when we sat down and talked about the way we were together going to run the team. And he's been there with me every step of the way, and for him to get that game winner, it's fitting.
And so the season that started with a 5-1 win over Adirondack exactly 8 months ago comes to an end here in Houston with a win for the ages. And how about this for one last little tidbit? The B-Cents are now the only AHL team ever to make the playoffs as a crossover and go on to hoist the Calder Cup. At the Toyota Center in Houston, I'm Aaron Goldstein, YNN Sports. Hi everyone. Without question, the number 44 is the one most associated with SU football. But after the likes of Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, and Floyd Little, perhaps the guy with who's made the most impact in the game of football is a guy who wore jersey number twice as big. And today, the SU football community is mourning his loss. John Mackey died yesterday at the age of 69. He had suffered from dementia for the past several years. Mackey was a tight end at SU for 3 years in the early 60s, and he's credited with redefining the position as one of the first receiving tight ends in the game. SU honored Mackey back in 2007 when they retired his number 88, and one of the guys who followed in his footsteps at SU says he wasn't only a great player, but a great person as well.
He was a showman at the same time. I mean, very boisterous, very, always had a big smile, quick to make a joke. I don't think, at least in the time I was around him, never took himself too serious, had that look in his eye that you knew that he was, but made you relax and feel comfortable in his presence. Renfro's fingers grazed the laces.
After Mackey left SU, he went on to a 10-year Hall of Fame career in the NFL, mostly with the Baltimore Colts. Here's what Doug Marrone said today about Mackey's passing. John was the perfect role model for Syracuse football student athletes. He was a larger-than-life man, and he influenced so many people. Many consider him the greatest tight end in NFL history, end quote. Of course, it was just yesterday that SU's Nick Provo was named to the Mackey Watch List, an award given to college football's top tight end. Meanwhile, another SU football player is gaining some national recognition today. A day after Provo became a candidate for the Mackey Award, Orange senior Van Chu has been named to the Biletnikoff Watch List. That award goes to the best wide receiver in the country. Chu led the Orange receivers in catches, yards, and touchdowns last year. He ranked 8th in the Big East by averaging about 51 yards per game. 2,997 down, and now just 3 to go. Derek Jeter is still on the verge of joining the exclusive 3,000 hit club, and now he'll have an anxious home crowd cheering him on for the next 4 nights. Jeter and the Yankees returning to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for a 4-game homestand with Tampa. Jeter trying to become only the 28th player ever to reach 3,000 career hits, and his prospects for at least getting closer look pretty good tonight, as he's 5 for 9 in his career against starting pitcher Jeff Neiman. Asked about the pressure of trying to reach the milestone at home, Jeter claims he's not feeling any, but he and the team are definitely expecting a heightened atmosphere.
Well, our fans have always been pretty good when they have an opportunity to witness something that hasn't been happening before, you know what I mean? They care a lot about the history of the organization, so, I would anticipate them being pretty animated. I don't know, but I would think it would be kind of fun.
There'll be a lot of flash bulbs going off, I'm sure. I think it's going to be great. I think people have anticipated this for a while. The countdown had started. So I think people are pretty excited about it. We are. I know we are in the dugout for him to get it done.
High fastball.
We, of course, will have highlights and post-game reaction from Yankee Stadium later on tonight. On the softball diamond, the awards continue to pile up for Syracuse pitcher Jenna Kyra, as she's been named the Eastern Collegiate Athletic Conference Pitcher of the Year. The junior set SU, Big East, and ECAC records with 35 wins this past season, and with an ERA of 1.51. She already holds 16 records heading into her senior year. And finally, a fun day out at Drumlin's Country Club this afternoon, where Futures Tour star Kylene Pulley joining a few high school golfers and members of the media in a chipping contest as we get set for the Alliance Bank Classic in a few weeks. Yours truly and sports director Mark Larson didn't quite measure up to the rest of the competition. We probably could have used some advice from the pros, and in 2 weeks, that's what a whole bunch of high schoolers will get when they take part in the Pro Junior Challenge.
And it's always great because they always give us great short game tips, especially. And as seen by the chipping contest, I think everyone can use some short game tips.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get back to that same mentality that I had when I was their age, just playing fearless and having fun. So I'm sure I'll have a lot to learn from them as well.
11 schools will take part in the Pro Junior Challenge this year. It's scheduled for Monday, July 25th out at Drumlin's. And that's it in sports for this hour. I'm Aaron Goldstein. For more, log on to our website, YNN.com.